Yes, sir. We are back, baby. 10 terrifying true scary stories, volume 9 by Mr. Nightmare. So Mr. Nightmare has reached 10 years on the platform. First of all, shout out, you know what I'm saying? Clap it up for the boy. Congratulations, Mr. Nightmare, for a decade on the platform, bro. Hope you have another decade of success, because these scary stories are always dope, bro. So he decided to bring back a series. I guess he does different volumes of, 10 true terrifying stories or whatever. Maybe I guess he did it like he does it on each anniversary. That makes sense, because it's 10-year anniversary. This is volume 9. Yeah. So I guess it's 10, scary stories that he loves. It's 46 minutes long. So this is a doozy. Make sure y'all go ahead and go get your popcorn, get your snacks, whatever you need, bro. Because this is going to be a long one. And I'm only going to pause in between the stories. That's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm not gonna pause during the stories. I'm gonna try not to anyway. I don't want to give any guarantees, but I'm gonna try to only pause in between stories to give my thoughts on the story before moving on. Because yeah, this is a long one, bro. So with that being said, make sure y'all tuck in, get ready. Without further ado, let's get it. Thank you for 10 years and continued support. Yes, sir. By the way, y'all, we are very close to 6,000 subscribers, so y'all should help your boy. We right around the corner, man. Story 1 by Chris J. Let's go. Let's go back a little bit.
When I was 21 years old, I would be home alone at my parents' house a lot. We lived on a little pond, which was directly in our backyard.
Okay.
On the other side of the pond was a little town park. Our neighbors were a bit spaced out. It was a pretty upscale, expensive block compared to the rest of the town, so the properties were big. I'm fully moved out now, but this was back when I was in college.
Okay.
My parents make a lot of money, and we have multiple homes.
Hey.
Often I was home alone. It was a random night in the summertime. I was off from school.
It's a nice house.
I can't remember if it was the weekend or a weekday, but odds are since I was home, it was a random weekday.
Probably.
I was in the back sunroom watching a show. That was my favorite room in the house in the summer because it was the most cozy and had the best breeze with all the windows open.
Oh, okay.
I was right on the corner of the couch, closest to the corner window.
Is that a sunroom?
Splashing from outside, like in the pond. It could have been a goose or duck. Sometimes they'd fight in the water and make a bunch of splashing sounds.
Right.
At first, I ignored it.
I guess it's just an
As it
animal.
persisted, I decided to lower the volume on the TV and listen. I put my ear up to the window even, and I heard consistent splashing sounds. Way too heavy to be from a duck.
Like it was
or
somebody
goose.
taking steps. Oh.
It sounded like they were splashes from a person. I opened the door in the sunroom and stepped outside to the deck. I looked out to the pitch darkness of the backyard. I now heard a man's humming along with the splashes.
Bro!
Someone was definitely swimming in the water. They were trespassing. Each house on the pond owned a specific chunk of the pond. I stepped inside for a second.
Okay, what the hell?
To the backyard deck. As I did this, just a bit of the pond was exposed, and the splashes and humming stopped. Whoever it was clearly saw me. I wondered if it was one of the neighbors going for a swim or something, which also just seemed weird because no one really swam in the pond ever. But honestly, whether it was or wasn't a neighbor, I wasn't going to confront whoever it was.
Right.
I stepped back inside and turned off the lights, of course locking the door as well. I texted my brother, who was away at college, about it. He didn't answer right away. I was trying not to creep myself out over it, but watching TV after this was kind of hard.
I bet.
I didn't focus on the show. I looked out the window, but all I could see outside was darkness. I still had the TV on in the background, not realizing how revealing the light from the TV would be outside. And then, I thought I heard something on the deck. I hurried to find the remote and turn off the TV.
God
And
damn
as
it,
the room
bro.
went black and silent, it took me a few seconds to adjust and realize that there was the sound of someone's heavy breathing right outside one of the many windows in the room.
Why,
I
bro?
instantly
Go away.
lay down flat on the couch to try and hide myself. And after a short moment of silence, a deep voice from outside the window said, "I see you." My heart dropped into my stomach. I couldn't decide in the moment whether to speak or keep hiding, so I just blurted out, "Paul, is that you?" Paul was the name of one of our neighbors. I said this, clinging on to the hope that maybe it was him. He
Okay.
was just messing with me. But the man outside didn't respond to this.
Ah,
I
shit.
just heard footsteps walking away. As
Walking
the barefoot
away?
sounding footsteps faded to silence, I still laid flat on the couch, too afraid to move. I laid for a few minutes, before the thought to go check that all the doors were locked came to mind.
Oh.
I exploded off the couch and ran straight for the front door. It was locked.
Okay.
As was the side entrance door.
I'm about to say.
After a little while longer and texting my entire family about what was going on, my dad told me to turn the backyard lights on and check if anyone was still out there.
Okay.
He basically told me to be the man of the house and protect it.
Pretty much.
I listened and checked the back deck.
Hey, you grown.
Window. It was clear. I brought a big knife outside with me onto the deck, and I looked down. There were wet footprints that had half dried by then.
Okay.
I could tell that they were barefoot footprints.
Yeah.
I followed the trail of footprints around to the side part of the deck, and what I saw was nightmare fuel.
Oh.
The top part of someone's head, namely their eyes and forehead, was peering just over the edge of the deck from the ground below, looking at me as if he heard me coming and was waiting.
I'd have stabbed him on top of his head.
He turned away, and by now I was ready to call 911.
I'd have ready to dive on him.
Or even telling my parents. I locked myself inside, waiting for them, and when they came, I felt instantly better. They asked if our family had any enemies or people who don't like us. If we have any problem neighbors.
That was just a
Questions
weirdo.
like this. They did do a quick sweep of the property and then left. I decided to shut every window that night and
Of course they ain't find shit.
just for added safety. When I awoke the next morning, I was just delighted to see sunlight. I don't believe that man ever returned to our house, and we still don't know who it could have been.
He was just a weirdo. So in the end, it's better that it went the way it went, but it's like, I don't know, man. I would have been ready to dive off that deck with that goddamn butcher knife, bro. Like, I mean, confronting danger when it's right there in front of you is a little different when you're actually in a situation. Anybody outside the situation could be like, yeah, I would have did this, I would have did that. But it's like when you're in a situation, you might think differently, but I don't know, bro. I'm already out here with the knife. I've already steeled myself to walk out here and be prepared to use this goddamn knife if I have to. And I see you peering over the deck, and you was just looking at me talking about, I see you through the window. I don't know, I might have to get you. But hey, I guess it went better though. It went better this way. Story 2 by Apollo. People are just weird, bro. What the hell?
I have a dog who I take for a walk 3 times a day.
Okay.
First in the morning, then in the afternoon, and finally at night. I take him on the same route every time, which is through our driveway exit, which leads to a cul-de-sac parking lot for the condominium complex we live in.
Okay.
This will make sense soon as to why I'm telling you this. On the night walk, I always go somewhat late. I'm not sure why, but it's been a habit ever since I've had him. and
How'd
it's
you
never
find
been a
this video of this
problem for
dog?
us. Until one night, I begin our final walk of the day and go our usual route. I have a flashlight with me as there are no lights at the parking lot, and I'm listening to music with only one AirPod as I feel it would be for the best just in case I heard something unusual.
Yeah, the dog would notice
did.
it first too.
As I'm approaching the parking lot, I was hearing something. A voice of some kind that was up ahead of me. But I was completely zoned out in my own world of music as it was happening.
Okay.
But then my mind finally caught up and I stopped. I took the AirPod out and stood still to listen, just to see if I was only hearing things. And then it happened again, a voice that spoke ahead of me, but I couldn't see anyone. So I did the stupid thing and continued to carefully walk forward because I thought it was all in my head. But something didn't feel right about it.
You must have had a little ass
Stopped
dog,
again
a
after
whole
a
ass
few
dog.
feet, right next to where all of the cars were parked.
It was a big dog when I got on
My
timing.
flashlight pointed everywhere in front of me. I stayed listening, and the creepiest thing that has ever happened to me yet was hearing a muffled voice of what sounded like a kid say the word help. I dropped so fast I couldn't move my legs. I frantically pointed my flashlight everywhere to see where it was coming from. I was sure it was coming from the cars, but I was completely thrown off by this.
Yo.
But there wasn't a kid in sight, or anyone nearby. It was just me and my dog, who didn't seem to notice anything as he was just sniffing some bushes nearby.
That's what I'm saying. What the hell, dog?
I heard it again. The word help was spoken 3 more times, and it was coming from my left side where the cars were parked.
Yeah.
It made me panic even more.
There's
I
a
didn't
kid
know
in the
what to
trunk or
think of
something.
it, and I knew I wasn't imagining this when I saw my dog's ears perked up. He was looking in the same direction I was facing after it happened. And that's when it hit me about how incredibly eerie all of this was.
Yeah.
After hearing it multiple times, I realized the kid's voice didn't sound entirely like a kid. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like the mix of an adult and a child at the same
So
time.
it was a adult
Each
trying
time
to
they
sound
called
like a
for help,
kid.
Not only was the voice always muffled, but it was spoken in a more generic statement as opposed to a cry for actual help every time. And I mean that literally. There was absolutely no change in the tone, inflection, sound, or anything.
Oh, so it's like a recording.
Straight home afterwards, and I tried to explain to my mom what happened. She was puzzled herself about what it could have been, and I suggested we call the cops on the off chance that there was actually someone in need of help. But she didn't think it was necessary. So many questions were conjuring up in my head. Why was the voice muffled? Was there someone in the car that I couldn't see?
Oh, to call the cops.
Darker, waiting for me to move closer. I don't
probably
think too much about it, but whatever it was, it still makes me feel extremely disturbed to this day.
Is that the end of the story?
Here's where I had stopped and taken my AirPods out to listen, and I heard it up ahead on the left. This is where I had gotten closer and heard it on my left side. I'm aware that there's a condo complex on the right side, which some may think the noise was coming from, but it was in this direction facing the cars where my dog and I heard it. You could see from this point of view that there's nothing to really indicate a noise coming from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Also, at the time this happened, the cars that were parked were trucks and SUV types, so they were a lot larger and covering more space, thus making it harder to see from where I was standing.
Okay.
I never figured this out.
Bro. So from the sound of things, somebody was playing some sort of recording or something, and they was trying to get you to come over to where they were. And a good thing you didn't. I hope that's at least what I want to go with. I want to, have faith and believe that that's what was happening, because I don't want to believe the alternative, which is that there was actually a kid stuck somewhere and you failed to save them. Not that it's your duty to save them yourself, but like y'all didn't even call the cops, which I definitely would have done after this situation. So I don't know, man. It could have been a false alarm. It also could not have been. To this day, you don't know. Hey, it is what it is. That's definitely creepy though. Little hoe ass dog that didn't do nothing. All right, man. Story 3.
What I'm about to tell you is the reason why my parents moved out of a house that was in the family for 3 generations.
Okay.
I've struggled with depression most of my life. It's hard for me to shake the feeling of being useless.
Damn.
I'm doing much better now, but when I was a kid, it was horrible. Because of that, I spent a lot of time alone in my room. My house was nestled in a very woodsy area. There were trees on 3 sides of it and a forest separating it from any neighbors.
Damn.
My room was pretty big for a bedroom. It was in the back corner of the house, so the windows on 2 walls faced the woods.
Okay.
It was honestly pretty scary for a kid my age. It didn't help that I was also scared of the dark.
Oh, man.
Things started happening when I was around 10 or so. I was in the 5th grade, and I was at the age where it wasn't acceptable to sleep in my parents' bed after a nightmare.
Yeah.
I was still accused of having an active imagination. The first thing I noticed was my nightlight. It had different color settings, so if I wanted, I could change the LED around.
Yeah.
I liked keeping it on red, which is what I fell asleep to most nights. One night,
red is not a soothing color to me.
Randomly in the middle of the night, which was unusual for me. I was really tired and fell back asleep in under a minute. But before I did, I noticed that my nightlight was a different color than the red I always left on.
Yeah.
I didn't think much of it until about a week later. One morning, I woke up and realized my nightlight was once again not set to red like it always was. I asked my parents why they were messing with my nightlight. They were confused.
Like, we ain't touch your nightlight. What you talking
about? I explained what had happened to them, and they told me that the thing had always been glitchy. They knew best, so I accepted that answer for a while.
All right.
At least until one morning, after waking up to see my nightlight unplugged completely. It was just sitting there on the floor.
Oh, hell no.
My parents dismissed my concern and told me my brain should be focused on school. My dad said I was getting too old for a nightlight anyway. A few days later, my nightlight was missing completely. It had seemingly evaporated out of existence.
Bro!
Now I knew my parents were lying to me. They probably thought I should have outgrown the nightlight by then and took matters into their own hands. This incident caused a massive fight between them and I, since both of us accused the other of hiding it, and neither of us was budging.
What the hell?
I couldn't believe my parents would blatantly lie to me about something like this. There was nothing I could do. After that,
a massive fight when you're 10 or 11?
That didn't last long though.
I guess.
3 nights in a row, I woke up randomly in the middle of the night. Each time, I had no idea what was waking me up. After it happened a 4th time in a row,
Sixth Sense.
I told my parents. They told me that I was going through puberty and that changes to my body are natural. The next time
I know I said I wasn't gonna pause in the middle of stories. I gotta say this. any of y'all watching this, if you have kids or are going to have kids in the future, if your kid brings something to your attention that's weirding them out and is messing with them, look into it, bro. Don't just ignore shit like this. What are you doing? He's like, yo, my nightlight keeps on being a different color. Okay, yo, my nightlight is straight up missing. Yo, like something keeps waking me up at a certain time and I don't know what it is, but I know I'm not just waking up because I'm still tired. Like something is waking me up. Like, y'all need to look into this. What are you doing, man? And then as soon as some shit happens, you're gonna be like, oh my God, there's no way for us to know. You could have looked into this shit. You dismissing everything he's saying. All right, I just had to get that out. I'm about to go ahead and hit play. Maybe it's the parents themselves doing the shit. I don't know.
Going through puberty, and that changes to my body are natural.
I don't got
Next time it happened, I stayed awake instead of falling back asleep. A few minutes after I woke up, I heard faint rustling noises from my closet.
Oh my God.
My dad even checked my closet, and there was nothing in there besides old toys and posters.
Parents didn't believe me.
The next 4 days remained the most traumatizing nights I've ever experienced in my life. I'd been woken up only to hear rustling in my closet.
Fuck no, bro.
It was torture. I couldn't take it anymore. I begged my parents to believe me, and my dad got angry. He dragged me to my closet to prove there was nothing in there. He started throwing toys around my room, clearing the closet bit by bit, yelling at me the whole time. That is, until he pulled one of the posters off the wall. My mother and father stared in horror at the massive hole in the wall the posters had concealed.
Yeah. Nah, how you feel?
Mom started screaming.
Dumbass.
Pulled out a flashlight. The hole was way too deep to see where it led.
Fuck these
so
parents,
my dad
bro.
ran outside and began inspecting the outside of the house. There was a tiny hole in the dirt at the base of the house, and a little digging revealed that it was more than a divot. There was literally a passageway from the woods to my room. My mom and I were out of the house that night.
That's
at my
crazy.
aunt's house. We moved out shortly after this. I stayed at my aunt's house until we did. I don't like thinking about this experience.
Did you fucking apologize to your son?
Eventually. My parents also refused to talk about this incident.
Nah, yeah, of
I think
course.
it's partly because they feel some blame for not taking me seriously.
Right.
It's chilling to think that there was a stranger in my room every night for over a month.
That's crazy.
I have no idea what they wanted, and will probably never know. If your kids come to you with something that sounds abnormal, believe them.
Thank you. Yo, like I was taken out of the horror aspect, and it wasn't because I ruined the momentum of the story by pausing it. It's because I was so annoyed at the dumbass parents, bro. Like, you fucking dumbass, and now you take the poster off the wall and see a hole and go, oh shit. And you ain't even apologize to your son. That's something you should do. I don't care that the son is just a kid, 10 or 11 years old. You should teach your child, when you fuck up, you apologize. Y'all, they're supposed to sit their son down, son. You've been told us about this, that you were, suspecting things going on. We kept on ignoring you, saying that it was just, different reasons. We didn't believe you. Now we see that you weren't lying. We apologize. That was wrong of us to do. We're gonna try to be better in the future. That's what you're supposed to do, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, hell nah, bro. I know some of y'all got too much pride and ego, and you don't think that you would ever need to apologize to your kid about anything. But nah, bro. Hell no, that shit can cause a strained relationship. Hopefully it didn't, but it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, man. Like I said before, if you have kids and they ever bring to you something crazy like that, look into it. I ain't say you gotta believe everything they say off break. Do your own investigation, but that's what I'm saying. Do your own investigation. They just dismissed everything he said. And the only reason they even found the shit is because dad came in mad and started throwing shit out the closet in a fit of rage, but then seen the hole and said, oh shit. Like, yeah. Oh shit. Dumbass, bro. Glad nothing happened. A month? Dude could have did something any one of those nights. Let's go. Story 4 by Leo.
My name is Leo. To be completely honest with you, I'm a little lost in life right now. I won't get into it too much, but all you need to know is that my family situation is horrible. And for the past 3 years, I've tried to stay as far away from home as possible.
Oh.
My close friends from high school have been changing in ways I don't like, and I feel like my hometown has nothing to offer me anymore. I'm about to be a senior in college, and to be completely honest, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with my life after that.
Damn.
Enough with the sob story, though. I was in Berlin last year for whatever reason, probably searching for a sense of place or trying to find a direction in life.
Okay.
I remember the name of the bar I was in, Reduya. I was there alone, nothing I'm not used to. I was getting ready to leave, when I felt around my pocket and realized my apartment keys were missing.
Oh,
just my luck.
Hate
I
that.
stumbled out of the bar and began walking toward my apartment anyway.
Well, I've never had
The
that
whole
happen
thing
to
was
me.
locked up. There was
Drunken,
no way I
you
was
know?
getting in there, and it was way too late at night to get a replacement set. I'm not sure what most people would do in a situation like this, but my first thought was to start looking for a place to sleep.
Yeah.
As if my luck wasn't bad enough.
Oh
It started
yeah,
raining.
he has no friends.
Eventually, I decided to
call.
sleep under a nearby bridge.
Oh, this is
I
tough.
didn't even know where I was, but I was out of the rain and safe, so I was happy.
You not have a car?
As I was drifting off,
I slept in my
I began
car.
picking up on some faint voices coming from across the river. I sat back up and saw what looked like 5 men standing on the opposite side of the river, along with a little boat that was tied off.
Oh
They
shit.
didn't seem to notice me. It took me less than a minute to realize what I was watching. There was an honest-to-God drug dealer or something going down right in front of me. My German isn't great, so I wasn't really able to make out what they were saying, but several briefcases and duffel bags were exchanging hands.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
filled in the blanks
Big
myself.
drugs, big money.
I thought about finding a new spot, but I didn't want to draw attention to myself by moving.
Yeah.
I
Hold still.
figured I'd just wait for this to be over.
I'd
then
probably
leave.
hold still too.
All of a sudden, one of the men yelled something aggressively in German and pointed a gun at one of the other men. There was a brief moment of silence before the other guy put his hands up and began talking really quickly.
Oh.
It looked like he was being set up. The other men stripped the man at gunpoint of his clothing and started confiscating his
Damn.
belongings.
They finna run off with the drugs and the
He wasn't
money.
safe there anymore and got up slowly to move. As I did, I heard one of the men shout what roughly translates to, "There's someone there."
Damn.
I started running, not even turning to look at them. They shouted more things at me, but the only words I was able to understand were, "Don't shoot." I
Oh.
ran until I threw up and nearly passed out due to drunken exhaustion.
Huh.
There was no way they'd
Oh
be
yeah,
able
you
to
were
catch me,
drunk.
but they could have easily killed me. Sometimes I still think about how I could have lost my life that night if those men had decided to fire at me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm fated to run forever.
Huh. Damn, man. That was kind of a quick one. You know what I'm saying? Hey, whoever it is that wrote that story, I hope your life got better, man. Because, damn, kind of messed up. Almost met your fate as a, I was going to say passerby, but I guess bystander, but not even really that. You were next to a drug deal, goddammit, and you tried to get away. Well, you did get away, but they could have shot you in the back of your head, and they didn't do that. Shout out to them for not doing that, I guess. But yeah, man, hope your life got better, man. All right, story 5 by Emma Panaccia.
It was a normal Friday afternoon at my high school.
Okay.
I was walking down a hallway with my friend Emma as she talked about God knows what. I was just trying to get through the day because I honestly had a lot to deal with at home as well as at school, being that my foster parents weren't the nicest people, to say the least. As we walked past the lunchroom, I suddenly had to use the bathroom. I asked Emma if she had to go. She said no and that she would wait outside for me. I went into the bathroom and immediately noticed no one else was in there. I thought to myself, that was weird, because out of the multiple bathrooms in the school, this one was always packed at any given time.
Oh.
I shrugged it off and
What
went
happened
into a
then?
stall. And a few seconds after getting in the stall and sitting down, I heard the bathroom entrance door open and shut abruptly, and someone entering the bathroom, but I didn't hear them move after entering. I didn't think anything of this. It wasn't really anything out of the ordinary. Maybe it was someone hiding from an admin. I went about my business.
I've done that.
I stood up to button my jeans and read the writing on the bathroom wall. There was a bunch of random quotes and rants about teachers.
Wow.
And I heard the door open again, and I assumed whoever was in here had left. I came out of the stall, and as I left the bathroom, Emma was looking at me with a weird face, almost like a "what the hell did I just see" face. I asked her what was up, and she asked me, "Who was that standing right behind you in the bathroom stall?" I got chills. I told her no one was in the stall with me and to stop fucking with me.
What?
She promised me she wasn't. She told me she actually came in seconds before I came out because she realized she did need to go. Then she saw someone else in the stall, standing with their shoes touching the back of mine. That's how close they were behind me in the stall.
How?
She said she left immediately, not wanting to witness whatever was going on. I reiterated again I was the only one in the stall. However, I had heard someone come in, but I never heard them use the bathroom, and I had assumed they were hiding from an admin. That's when she told me no one went near the door until she came in seconds before I came out. I didn't believe in the paranormal, but this made my stomach sink.
I was about to say, is it a ghost?
I found an admin and told her about it.
There wasn't no
She pretty much
person.
tried to assure me that it didn't happen.
Your sixth
that Emma
sense would have
was
went
probably
crazy
just
if it was a
messing with
person.
me. But Emma was never one to take things seriously or be serious in general. So when she looked me in the eyes with a serious face and told me word for word what she saw, I felt like it actually happened, and something really was in there with me, along with the fact that I heard the bathroom door open and close twice. I'm 18 now, and I haven't forgotten it since.
It sounded like the school ghost was standing behind you, man. What the hell is going on over here? That is wild, dog. Oh, nah, bro. Hey, I told you before, I believe in the paranormal. I believe in ghosts. I believe in spirits, all that good stuff. And I go out of my way to try to do nothing to piss them off. You know what I'm saying? They live in a plane of existence that we can't see unless they want us to see it or interact with, but they can see, be in, and interact with our plane of existence. So like, why would you want to ever piss off a being that can touch you, but you can't touch it? Nah, bro. All the ghosties, I'm good, man. I ain't trying to get on y'all bad side. None of that, bro. But that's wild, bro. That's why that story is wild right there. I'm the same way as her friend. I play a lot, bro. So if I ever come to you on some serious shit and it sounds like I'm dead ass, I probably am. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type that if I try to like lie to you about something and like in a funny way, like I'm trying to prank you, I'm gonna just bust into laughter before I even like get the full prank in, because I'm fighting it the whole time, bro. I'm one of them. Story 6 by Anonymous.
This happened long ago when I was renting a small house in the town that I got my first real big girl job at. It was a small one-floor house with 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and just enough living space for myself and occasionally hosting some people.
Okay.
I had been living there for a few weeks already. All was fine. The landlord, who I'll just call Michelle, was really friendly and understanding.
Hey.
I think she rented to me because she didn't want a male renting out her house. I'll skip unnecessary details and get right to the point. Something very weird started happening a few weeks into living there. One regular work night, I got a knock at the door. I went to the other side and said, "Who is it?" No one responded. I didn't open it.
It was at night.
Knocking on my door late at night.
Right.
It was early the next morning. I had finished getting ready for work and was about to leave. I opened my front door and saw a big post-it note taped to the storm door.
Hello, beautiful.
It said, "Hello, beautiful."
Bro, you got a stalker that fast.
The knocks on the door from last night. It was no doubt the same person, but the big question was, who could it be? I crumpled it out.
And I say stalker because he came at night.
Trash, hoping and assuming it would be a one-and-done thing.
If he was trying to introduce himself, he wouldn't come at night.
That I got another knock at the door.
Stop coming at night.
This time a little earlier, while I was cooking dinner.
Okay.
I went over to the door, this time not saying anything, just listening. There was no peephole.
I'm about to say there's no peephole?
To the other side.
God damn it.
I had no way of seeing who was there without opening the door. And that wasn't gonna happen, as the storm door didn't lock. But this was the second night in a row, and now I was realizing this was some kind of stalker situation.
Yeah.
I called my mom and dad to ask for advice, and really, they didn't even know what to say. My dad, who was a retired police officer, said that if I called the cops, they wouldn't really be of any help unless they were catching the person.
You wouldn't have to be a retired police officer to know that.
He advised me to not go outside late at night for a while, don't answer the door, and if it persists, that he'd come to town and spend a few days with me.
Okay.
So that was the advice I followed. The next morning, the first thing I did was check the storm door for another note, and part of me died inside when I saw another note stuck to the glass. This one said, "I like to watch you."
Nope, Dad.
With my phone.
Dad.
To not only my family, but Michelle as well.
Dad, come stay tonight.
If she had any kinds of issues with certain men or any stalkers. She acted appalled.
Bring that gun.
Shocked when I sent her a picture of the note and told her about the knocks. She assured me that she didn't have any stalkers and that she was in a long-term relationship. Still, I wasn't entirely convinced. I left a note on the door after work that day, saying if you're looking for Michelle, she does not live here. She only rents this house out.
Okay.
If you continue to come here, I will be reporting this to the police.
That don't never scare nobody.
A level of comfort, actually. I thought this would end things.
That don't ever scare nobody.
At night, every waking minute was spent with anxiety, worrying about hearing knocks at the door again. To my relief, there were none tonight.
Okay.
I went to sleep in relative peace, thinking my note worked. The next morning, I opened the door and removed my note from the glass, then realized it wasn't my note. It was a new note.
Yeah.
And it said, "I'm not looking for Michelle. I'm looking for you." And
damn.
it said my name, followed with, "I like watching you," like it said in the previous note. I sent it to my dad right away.
Fucking weirdos,
seriously
bro.
ill. My dad packed a bag and drove up first thing.
Yeah.
He was at my house by the time I got home from work. And work that day was rough because I couldn't think of anything except for this horrific situation.
But the dude probably seen him come in.
I even wondered if someone in my office could have been doing this, like this creepy guy Fernando. My dad and I waited.
Damn, Fernando catches strays.
Until later in the night when we figured whoever was doing this may be hiding out there already. We wanted them to see the police presence. We spoke with an officer outside. My dad said it must have been a busy night since they only sent one.
Yeah.
My dad, being a retired police officer, obviously didn't hurt in this whole situation. After the officer left with his report, my dad stayed out on the front stoop for hours, even after I went to sleep. Obviously, the person didn't return that night.
Right.
And I moved out once I was able to pack all my things.
Okay, well,
Michelle was completely understanding. Thankfully, whoever was stalking me at that house didn't follow me to my new place.
Okay.
Likely eliminating the possibility that it was a coworker.
Cool.
So I will likely never know who it was.
That's messed up, bruh. See, I would have been a little more sneaky with it. I ain't gonna lie. I would have had my dad pull up at a time where, like, I'm pretty sure no one's gonna be there. Like, basically a time where I'm pretty sure the stalker ain't watching. Like, yo, dad, come up in here. Because I don't want the stalker to know my dad is here. And then, like, you know, the next time he comes and tries to knock on the door or something, bust open that goddamn door with a pistol and put it in his face. Like, who the fuck is you? And then you gonna get shot if you keep on messing with my daughter. Beat his ass real quick, you know, because you gotta whoop his ass. You gotta whoop his ass. And then, you know, hopefully you put the fear of God in him and he doesn't come back. I don't know. Or maybe you just beat him and then call the cops and have the cops come get him. I don't know. They probably wouldn't be able to do much because I don't know if he actually, I mean, maybe he could get a trespassing, but that's about it. They wouldn't really give him much else. So he wouldn't be gone for long. That's the only thing I hate about shit like that. But yeah, man, story ended okay. They were able to move away and the stalker didn't follow. So, hey, I'll take that. Still a happy ending. Story 7 by Anonymous.
I'll be honest with you, I've probably spent more time chasing women than I'd like to admit.
Damn.
I've had to tone it down a lot since college, partly because of what I'm about to tell you. I went to school in California, and while I haven't been back in a while,
Cali,
when I was there, the culture was very open. And when I say open, I mean sexual. This honestly could have been true for other colleges in other states at the time, but I really wouldn't know.
People get crazy in college.
It was my sophomore year, and I had just finished pledging the fraternity Pike.
Oh, shit.
About halfway through the semester,
joined a frat?
I was getting sick of only talking to sorority girls that seemed to know half the guys in every frat. It was honestly a little gross, and I started developing a fear that every girl I was interested in had been with several people I personally knew.
Damn.
I tried my luck and created a Tinder profile.
It'd be like that in small communities.
It wasn't long before I matched with someone whose interests seemed to match mine.
Not a Tinder story.
We started talking, and things were going well. After a few days, we made plans to meet up at a local college bar called Tap House on a Saturday night.
Okay.
This was actually my favorite bar in the area because it had pool tables, and I had been clearing racks since I was 10 years old.
Hey, I'll bust y'all head in some pool.
I remember getting there a little
some
early
billiard ball.
so I could secure a table and warm my muscles up a bit. An hour passed, though, and I came to terms with the fact that I had probably been stood up. I was trying to decide whether I should salvage the night or just go home and play online chess when I got a notification.
Online
To my
chess?
surprise, it was Yamel, the girl I was waiting on.
You don't have an MMO to
She had
play or
just
something?
arrived. I greeted her, and she apologized for being late. We got some drinks, played some pool,
Okay.
got to know each other. She was Latina and a heavy drinker, so I got plastered just trying to keep up. At one point, she asked for my Instagram, which I gave to her. 10 seconds later, I found myself staring at a collection of explicit photos she had just sent me. I was confused, but in my drunken state, I wasn't going to complain. Before I could even respond, she told me, "Your turn," which I figured could only mean one thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I hadn't been so drunk, I probably would have questioned why we were sending pictures to each other when we were literally 5 feet apart.
Right.
I didn't have the foresight. I complied with her request.
What the
We
hell,
laughed
bro?
about the whole thing, and that was that. A few hours later, things at the bar were starting to wind down. I
Okay.
was planning on inviting her to my place.
It's definitely weird,
She
but
beat me to it, asking if I could spend the night at hers. I
oh,
agreed, and we left the bar.
what did you get all up in
I
there?
couldn't even walk in a straight line. It was honestly embarrassing. We Ubered to her apartment.
It was
which
blackout
was
drunk.
actually in Oakland, something I hadn't realized before. Honestly, red flags should have been going off in my brain the moment we crossed into Oakland. She unlocked the door of her apartment and stepped aside so I could go first. I took a few steps inside and heard the door shut behind me. It was pitch black in
Shit.
there. As I was turning around to ask her to flip some lights on, the room lit up. To my horror, I wasn't facing a harmless 5'2" girl anymore. Instead, two massive bald dudes with tank tops were standing in front of the door with their hands clasped. I turned around, and there was another white bald dude in front of me.
Fuck.
I wish I could tell you more about the room I was in, but it was honestly difficult for me to recall small details of that night.
Damn it.
I couldn't fight or flee, so I just froze. The guy in front of me began telling me my own name, birthday, and age. He then went on to say that the girl I had just gone out with was 17, meaning I had received and sent explicit pictures to a minor. He then suggested that I do what I was told, which I did. The two guys confiscated my phone, wallet, and keys, all of which I gave up without a fight. I asked the guy in front of me what he wanted, and he basically told me that he was a major distributor of illicit substances in Northern California.
Okay.
He told me that I'd be outed as a pedophile if I didn't distribute his product to my fraternity.
Damn.
I wish I could remember more specifics. The two men behind me then gave me a piece of paper.
You got roped into
and told
being
me to
a
write down my
forced
address,
drug
followed
mule?
by a list of names and numbers for as many students as I knew. I told them that I'd need my phone to complete the list, so one of them held it firmly in front of me and let me scroll through. All three of them were hovering over me now, knowing I was basically checkmated.
Yeah.
I don't know what compelled me to do it, but the literal second I saw a chance, I ran. I was too drunk to think about the consequences of those pictures on my phone. I narrowly escaped out the door I had entered from.
You got away?
As fast as I possibly could.
Well, I guess he's telling the story.
It's not like I was safe, though. I was still smack dab in one of the most dangerous places in America. Eventually, I found a nice-looking house and begged them to open up. I pleaded with them to let me use their phone and call 911.
What the fuck was that whisper?
I told the police everything. But of course, I didn't remember the address of that girl's apartment. An officer picked me up and took down a report before asking me if I would be okay leading them back to that apartment.
You better have put every single detail in there. Don't leave nothing out.
And I waited in one of the squad cars as the police barged in. After a few minutes, an officer told me that the place was completely deserted.
Of course.
There were not any signs that people had even been there.
They left too.
In the following weeks, the police actually took my report seriously and launched a full-scale investigation.
Oh, okay.
They concluded that it was probably gang-related, but were never able to arrest anyone.
Damn.
That was years ago.
Did you move?
This incident has been swept under the rug of Oakland's rampant crime and drug-related activity.
I'm sure.
In all honesty, what happened to me all those years ago is probably nowhere near the top of the list when it comes to that godforsaken place.
I bet.
I haven't used a dating app since.
Oh my God, bro. So the reason that they did that is to rope you. First of all, they got you to go out with a minor, which is, I understand why you could get tricked because y'all were in college. So college is those years where you're not even that old. Like, you know, when I graduated as a senior from high school, I was 17, meaning that when I went to college, well, I didn't go to college, but if I'd have went to college, I'd have been 18. You feel me? But like, it ain't like you look that much different. So you still hover around those ages. You feel me? So when you're doing that, plus on Tinder, you have to say that you're 18 just to make an account. So like the person lied. You know what I'm saying? So we get all this. The point that I'm saying is I'm trying to like cut out any, how did you not know that that was a 17-year-old comments? Because it's like, bro, this person was probably like fucking 20 themselves. So it's like, come on, man. But still lost. So she randomly sent you these explicit photos. You sent photos back. Yes, you just received photos, explicit photos from a minor and sent photos back to a minor. So that's what they did with that. And then they roped you into a room with these big, massive dudes, basically like, yeah, man, hey, you gonna be our drug mule or we gonna whoop your ass. It's fucked up. It's messed up, bro. That's why I don't go to nobody's place, bro. I don't. If I'm trying to meet up with you, bro, we gonna meet somewhere public with a lot of people for the first. And they did meet at a bar, so it's like, it ain't like they didn't do that, but I'm not going back to your place. And I don't, man, bringing people back to your place is weird too, though. We gotta like have a lot of vibe, bro. I don't know, man. We got, on the first kick it, we probably can't even bring nobody back no more. Like nowadays, not that this didn't always happen in previous years. I'm just saying, nowadays, you can't just bring somebody back first night, bro. It might be a setup. It's crazy, dog. It's crazy. I hope this person moved out of Oakland because I wouldn't even want to live there no more. Those people probably moved away too. I don't goddamn know. Story was crazy, man. Story was crazy. Anyway, moving on. Story 8 by Anonymous. Hey, I told y'all this was a long one, man. 3 stories left.
I've been smoking cigarettes every day for years. Before you judge me, let me just say that I recently started seeing a therapist for my nicotine addiction.
Okay, well, shout out to you for that then.
It hasn't helped much.
The
only thing worse than my nicotine addiction is my sleep schedule. I don't know what it is. I find myself staying up hours past midnight and rarely get out of bed before noon. While I'm trying to fix these parts of my life, they're extremely relevant to what I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
It began a few months ago. I was standing on my balcony, like I do most nights, smoking a cigarette. I live in a really secluded neighborhood. It's not like the houses around here are right next to each other. Despite this,
there's a little bit of
I have
space.
a neighbor whose fence I can see over if I'm standing on my balcony. I'm not nosy or anything, but this particular night, I was looking into his yard. I had never met the guy, but I assumed he lived alone since there was only ever a navy blue BMW parked in his driveway.
Okay.
Not this night, though. There was a black van I'd never seen before sitting in front of his house. I didn't make anything of it, just noting the coincidence to myself. The next night, though, I made it a point to pay attention to his yard, and the same black van was parked there again. I didn't assume something sinister was going on.
Yeah, it might just be
intrigued than anything.
Mighty moving, you know what I'm saying?
The following morning, I went up to my balcony and looked into his yard. The van was gone. For the remainder of the week, I made a game out of observing the van at night, theorizing its purpose. I said I wasn't nosy, but I sure am obsessive. It's actually the main reason most of my friends drifted out of my life.
These detectives?
I wasn't going to do more than observe, though. It wasn't my business or place to poke around further.
Right.
That is, until one night, when I saw something that completely changed my perspective of the situation. I was up later than usual. It was maybe 5 in the morning. The van was there, as it had been the past several nights.
Them all-nighters, baby.
My last cigarette when my neighbor actually walked outside, something I hadn't seen yet. I watched as he made his way to the van, carrying what appeared to be a long black bag. It almost looked like a set of golf clubs, only much heavier. After opening the van's sliding door, he delicately placed the bag inside. He promptly got in the driver's seat and sped off. I was dumbfounded. I had absolutely no idea what he could have been carrying. I was exhausted though, so I figured I'd think about it more the next morning.
Okay, let's go to sleep.
The next day, I decided that I'd go out on my balcony a little earlier and wait for the van to arrive at his house. I brought my laptop up there so I could get some work done and wait.
All right.
It was around 10 p.m. and the van wasn't in the driveway, but around 1 a.m. the van pulled in.
Yeah.
I quickly shut my laptop and watched. Nothing happened for a good several minutes, like the van just sat there, engine running and all. After about 5 minutes, the driver door opened and there he was. I watched as he went around to the side of the van, then slid the door open and pulled out the same bag that he had put in the night before.
Oh, really?
He seemed to be struggling this time around, visibly trying not to crack under the weight of whatever was in there. After waddling a few slow steps, both he and the bag disappeared into his house.
Okay.
I didn't know what to think. I thought about waiting there until 5 a.m. again, but that would be far too taxing on my brain.
Ah, damn.
Something was definitely wrong though, and I was determined to find out what. The next morning, I flipped a coin and ultimately decided to follow his van when he pulled out that night. After a pretty unproductive day, I went up to my balcony around 4 a.m. and waited, cigarette in hand. As soon as I saw movement in his driveway, I rushed downstairs, grabbed my keys, and got in my car. I turned my headlights off and waited for the van to turn onto the main road. Once it did, I began tailing it. After 20 minutes of driving, he pulled onto a dirt path that looked like it led into the woods. It did. I followed, and the woods actually started thinning up a bit. It seemed like this path had once been a main road or something. We drove for another few minutes before I realized what his destination was. There was a deserted gas station literally tucked away in some clearing in the woods, and right in front of it was the BMW I'd always seen parked in his driveway. I feared I was getting too close, so I turned my car around and parked across the street from the dirt road.
I see.
Must have waited there an hour. His BMW finally pulled out of the clearing. Nervously, I started driving back up the path, not sure what I'd find. I pulled over on the side of the road and started walking towards the gas station. It was eerie.
You're about to get out and walk?
The front door was locked. I walked around to the side. That was locked as well. So was the back door. I needed to know what was inside. There was a row of windows that I tried to open, but none of them would budge.
Bro, you too curious.
Against my better judgment, I picked up a rock and slammed it into one of the windows. It shattered pretty easily, but there must have been a security system in that place.
You're
because alarm bells started
tripping.
blaring. I sprinted back to my car, the whole time wondering why an abandoned gas station would be rigged with an alarm system.
This is dumb.
As I sped out of there, I called 911 and gave them a vague description before hanging up.
Okay.
I got back to my house and ran inside, my heart still racing. The next morning, I woke up hoping the whole thing had blown over. Boy, was I wrong.
No.
I went up to my balcony to see like 8 police cars in my neighbor's driveway, lights flashing and everything. I watched as an officer escorted my neighbor out of his house in handcuffs.
Wow.
One by one, the police cars drove away and I was left to my imagination. I lit a cigarette and stood there, finally alone with my thoughts.
What was going
I asked
on?
the police for details on several occasions, but they would never answer my questions.
Wow.
I've even tried driving back up to that gas station, but the whole road had been blocked off.
Oh.
Maybe one day I'll work up the courage to walk through the woods and go looking for answers.
Okay, so they sent 8 police cars to go pick this man up. Was he dropping bodies? Was he murking people? Like, he had to be, right? That had to be what it was. Unless it was drugs, but I don't think it was drugs. I don't know. That's wild. Damn, man, I'm mad that we don't know what happened. Like, I'm mad we didn't get like an actual, like a conclusion to what was going on, bro. We just got, oh yeah, basically they got this dude arrested for something serious enough to warrant 8 cop cars pulling up. But we don't know what it is. And they blocked off the road leading to the gas station, all that good stuff. That's crazy. All right, man. Woo, story 9. Let's go. Nikki Why was I reading it as an R? Nikki Bonamo. God damn it. There's no R here. Dairu. Learn to read, goddammit.
I'm not somebody who grew up with any kind of sleep disorders, such as sleep paralysis or night terrors.
I did.
I've always been a very heavy sleeper, so that's why when I'm about
night
to tell
terrors,
you
but
started
sleep,
happening, it was a
paralysis.
shock to me. We all have the occasional nightmare. I used to call nightmares a free, 3D immersive horror movie. To most, that will probably sound freakish, but in a weird way, I sometimes like the thrill of waking up after a nightmare.
That's a good way to look at
My
it.
one roommate,
Make yourself less
Patricia.
scared of them.
I just called her Trish. We had very different schedules with work, so we didn't see each other much besides on the weekends. This happened in July. I remember because it was so hot out that I had the window AC unit on full blast every night, which also provided a white noise that helped me sleep better. It was the first night that I had the nightmare, a few days after my ex and I had broken up, and life wasn't exactly the best.
Okay.
I had a dream that I vaguely remember for the most part, but the part that I vividly remember is being in a room full of my family members sitting quietly around a dinner table, and standing across the table from me was what I could best describe to be a creature that looked like one of the aliens from the movie Signs, only with horns and claws. It looked like what you'd imagine a sleep paralysis demon to look like.
Okay.
I was still fully asleep and dreaming. The next thing I knew, the thing was standing next to me, looking down at me.
Oh.
I started to run away in my dream until I was in my room, or I guess my brain's version of my room. That was the last of that dream I remember before waking up. My room was pitch black and the AC fan was on full blast. My heart was racing a bit from the dream, and I sat there thinking, wow, that was a creepy dream.
Yeah.
I looked around the room naturally before laying back down and going to sleep.
Yeah, everyone would do that.
The following night, I woke up in the middle of the night to my bedroom door open, which I usually 99% of the time would leave shut unless I was drinking.
Right.
My immediate thought was that it was Trish checking if I was home. I went up to go shut it and went back to sleep fairly quickly.
Okay.
I asked Trish if she came in my room the next day via text, and she told me she did not. So it was always possible I just took a midnight trip to the bathroom or kitchen that I didn't remember. It was the following night that I had another nightmare. That same demon creature from my previous dream appeared again in this one. This one was a lot more disturbing. Instead of being with my family, I was in a dark, square, empty room with the thing, and it kept getting closer to me.
Oh, shit.
Oddly, I don't remember the thing actually moving its limbs to walk. I just remember that it kept getting closer and closer until it was on top of me.
Oh.
And then, like I couldn't even move, the thing took a claw to my thigh and scratched me.
Oh.
I actually think I felt the pain in my dream.
I ain't never had that happen.
And the next thing I remember.
Hell no.
I don't mean I woke up right after that. I mean I don't remember what happened after that in the dream. But it was dark in the room once again. AC on full blast. I felt a slight stinging feeling on my upper thigh.
Wow.
I felt it with my hand, and I actually felt like I felt something on the skin. I rushed to the bathroom and looked in the mirror, and I screamed out loud when I saw a gash in my thigh.
Oh, hell no,
turned
bro.
on the light, waking her up. She asked how the fuck I got that.
You actually got attacked by a creature.
I don't know. We went to my room together and flipped off all the sheets and covers off the bed, looking for any kinds of bugs or spiders or any sharp object I could have laid down.
I'm gonna say that wouldn't cause a
I
gash.
understand makes no sense, but what else were we to think?
Yeah.
Trish then looked at me and said, "Wait," and put her finger to her lip. She turned off my AC unit, and for the first time in days, the room went quiet. It all became sickeningly clear in an instant, as we both heard a sound from under my bed. The kind of faint sound that you sense from another person just existing in the room. I'm impressed with
Sixth
both of
sense.
our ability to not scream right on the spot as we both looked at the bed and then at each other, and then left the room and then the apartment. We knocked on the neighboring apartment door until he answered. We asked him for help. Someone was in our apartment. He was an older guy, so I don't think we expected him to go fight some stranger in our apartment. He let us use his phone to call 911. At some point while waiting for the police, we heard a door outside slam shut.
Ah, shit.
It sounded like our door.
He
None
snuck
of us
away
could
and
look out the
ran.
window in time to see who it was. When the police got there, we confirmed the intruder was gone. We did leave all the lights on in the apartment when we ran away, though, and left in a rather sudden fashion. So the intruder definitely knew that we knew.
Yeah, that's why he got out of there.
Reflection I had of my dreams and what they actually meant. That demon in my dreams was supposed to be him, even in the first dream. And with my door being open that night, that means he or she may have been roaming around our apartment at night, possibly eating our food. To think this person actually scratched my thigh so hard it left a mark.
Like, what
It's
the
actually
hell?
really disturbing to think about. This forever changed my outlook on dreams and nightmares.
Oh yeah, that's the thing about dreams and shit. The external stimuli can definitely affect your dream. There have been plenty of times where, because like my white noise machine is my TV, so like I sleep with like YouTube videos playing in the background. And there's been plenty of times where I've like heard things being said in my dream, right? And I like wake up, and then I'm like, hold on, and I'll rewind the whatever video just happens to be on my TV, like 30 seconds, and exactly what I heard is what played, and I'm like, that's funny. Like the thing on my TV came into my dream and like made a whole scene revolving around the words being said. It's just crazy how the scene is like already set before the words are said, you feel me? So it's like, how did my brain know to make this scene that perfectly fits the word? Hey, brains are crazy, bro. Brains are crazy. All right, story 10, the last story to this long ad video. Now, I don't mind doing long reactions like this. I don't know how many of y'all are still around, but if if you're still around from the beginning of the video, drop a like on your boy, you know what I'm saying? Drop a sub if you haven't yet. We almost at 6K.
This happened when I was a little kid living in our old house in Suffolk County, Long Island. I'm gonna say I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
My older brother and I shared a bedroom on the top floor that used to be a separate apartment that my dad rented out to an old lady.
By the way, I forgot to say, story 10 by Mike B. Yeah, I always do it. I forgot to say it, my bad.
But she moved out, and so the upstairs was mainly for my older brother and I at that point.
Okay.
The layout was as follows. At the top of the stairs, on the left was our bedroom, which used to be the old woman's living room. Straight ahead was the bathroom, and to the right was an extra kitchen and a small bedroom.
Okay.
We had a million toys in our room, as the room itself was huge, and it also had 2 parallel crawl-in closets on opposite sides of the room where we stored a million other toys and board games and stuff like that.
All right.
There was one toy though, a race car with a bunch of buttons on it. The buttons would make the car's lights turn on momentarily and play varying sound effects such as honking, revving, and driving sounds, and a little rock song. It was a toy we had for like ever, because it was originally a gift from my brother when he was a little younger.
Oh.
It was a random night. My brother and I were both in bed, not yet asleep, when suddenly, like a jump scare from a scary movie, the loud revving sound of that car toy suddenly activated.
Ooh.
Along with the lights of the car in the middle of the room. I looked at the car and instantly got scared and accused my brother Luke of doing that to scare me. He was laughing hysterically, saying he didn't do it. I was completely terrified. The toy then stopped making noises and went quiet.
Okay.
I was extremely unsettled, as any little kid would be.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, time marched on and I fell asleep. It wasn't for a while until something else happened. One night, when Luke and I were both in bed again, we both heard a weird thud in the room. Luke insisted on trying to creep me out, saying there was a ghost in the room or something, and I kept yelling at him to shut up.
This man, Luke.
Mom. He kept laughing.
He wanted
We
them.
both noticed a light in the corner of the room.
Oh.
It was the toy car again. I got out from the bed and ran straight down the stairs yelling for my mom. I got to my parents' room and yelled there's something in our room. I'm sure I gave a little 7-year-old spiel about how there's a ghost in the room, hearing a thud and the lights on the toy car turning on. Luke entered the room, and my mom defaulted to telling him to knock it off if he's trying to scare me. He said how could he turn the lights of the car on from his bed? I slept in my parents' room that night because I was too scared to sleep upstairs.
Did Luke go back up?
It was a long while after that night, and nothing happened.
Okay.
Not until one night. Luke was not in the room. My guess is he was having a sleepover with one of his many friends. I was sleeping in the room by myself that night. I had long since tucked that car away in the small bedroom across the hall because it freaked me out.
Okay.
My mom kissed me goodnight. I asked her to keep the door.
He moved that shit to
I
another
was
room.
always scared when I was alone in the room. I rolled on my side and tried to go to sleep. But being that I was scared of being alone, I had a hard time getting tired that night.
Yeah.
I felt wide awake. Then, there was a sound I can't explain that came from down the hall. I flipped over to face the door, and the toy car rolled into the room with its lights on. I let out a scream straight from the bottom of my stomach as I cried for my mom and pressed my body up against the wall.
Bro.
Moments later, my parents both came up the stairs into the room, noticing the car on the floor. I screamed that someone pushed the car into the room. My dad went to go check the other rooms, but said there was no one there.
What the hell?
There weren't any places to hide up there besides the closets and under the beds, and my dad checked all of them. I don't know what my parents thought in that moment. On one hand, they probably thought the toy was malfunctioning or it's just my imagination.
It ain't no malfunction.
I think they were also slightly freaked out.
Or to come into the
That
room?
toy car didn't have a feature to move on its own. My dad smashed the toy and threw it in the neighbor's trash to make me feel better. I slept in their room for a while until my dad forced me back upstairs eventually.
Okay.
This story is the reason why I believe in the paranormal and something after death.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, that had to be paranormal because ain't no way. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it. That video was long as all living shit. But we did it, bro. Video was 46 minutes. This recording right now is at 59 minutes. It's an hour-long video, baby. But hey, shout out to Mr. Nightmare again for a decade on the platform. Again, I wish you many more decades telling these scary stories. I'm gonna be here listening. I know I haven't reacted to a Mr. Nightmare video in a while. I kind of haven't really been uploading content in a good amount of time. But like I said in my other video that I recently uploaded, we're back, man. We're going back to the, I don't want to say daily upload, but I'm gonna try to upload as often as I can. I'm gonna try to find something to upload, man. Black Myth Wukong is coming out, going crazy on that with a playthrough, full playthrough of that game. And then Sparking Zero, it's over. It's over. Hey, this is gonna be a Sparking Zero channel when that game come out. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not gonna upload nothing else, but I'm going crazy on Sparking Zero. Y'all best believe that. So yeah, man, scary stories by Mr. Nightmare, bruh. There was definitely a ghost or some shit fucking with him at the end of the story, man. Rolling the car in there, was nobody present, making thuds and stuff. Just scary, dog. But hey, some places have ghosts. Some houses have ghosts. If you move into a haunted house, man, you better move somewhere else or deal with it. I don't know. It's just something you have to deal with, bro. But yeah, man, this has been 10 Terrifying True Scary Stories, Volume 9 by Mr. Nightmare. Hope y'all enjoyed it, man. If you're still watching, make sure you drop a like on the boy. Hit the subscribe button if you feel so inclined. Again, we're approaching 6K subs. We're almost there, man. Show a lot of love to this video. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, we up out of this thing. It's your boy Dairu signing out. Hey.